Jin, Danny, Wei Chen, the Monkey King, Chin Ki, American Born Chinese, Toby and Caroline, This Boy's Life, Precious and Miss Rain, and Precious, Will and Marcus, About a Boy, and Caddy Heron and Mean Girls. Who are your favorites and why? What life lessons did you learn from them? Do you mind if I speak?
Yeah, that's fine.
So, I have to say, my favorite character has been Chin Ki personally. He was just really funny. I don't know, he was just a great character in my opinion, very well written and created, illustrated, like, very nicely, and just overall very funny. So he was my favorite.
I said Will and Marcus from About a Boy, which is kind of weird, but I thought their situation was kind of interesting. You know, Will and Marcus both live sort of normal lives until Fiona attempts suicide, and then everything changes from there on out. They really have to learn how to adapt. I think that was a good lesson.
I said Katie from Mean Girls because she kind of teaches you that there's like no reason to change yourself just to get others to like you. Like you should be yourself and just go from there.
I personally liked Forged by Fire because other characters in Forged by Fire because Gerald and Angel went through a lot. I think that's what made me like the book so much because as a reader I developed emotion towards certain characters, and I like how Angel and Gerald stuck together as a team and stayed mentally sane after going through the abuse that they went through. I don't think someone would be sane after going through what they went through.
I would say Caddy, whatever her last name is, and hang on to Max and Claire because I think that it was very relevant to what happens in our lives right now because we're in high school and stuff like that. So I could kind of relate more to what was going on in those stories, which was that was good.
And one of my favorites I'd say was Will from About a Boy. She was funny and he'd play things out coolly, and he taught us that no man is an island and that we all need someone in our lives.
My favorite was Precious because she played such a heavy character, and she'd gone through so much and she was still able to try and take care of herself and her baby, and then be able to handle the pregnancy while she's still dealing with her mom's abuse.
I really liked Miss Rain from Precious. I thought her character did a good job of showing that it may not always be your biological family who loves you, but there are people around you who really love you and want to help you get better. And I also liked Katie just because I think her character really showed that the people you surround yourself with can really affect how you act.
I said that I really liked Katie also. I thought that she showed us that it doesn't really matter if you're popular as long as you're happy with yourself and the others around you. And I also said Claire and Sam from Hanging On to Max just because they showed us how you can deal with hard life issues. And then I just said I disliked Jordan from Forged by Fire. I know I showed people not who to be.
I liked Claire from Hanging On to Max because she showed that you shouldn't care what other people think of you. For example, when they'd be out in public and people would ask if they're babysitting, Claire wouldn't be afraid to tell them they're their own kids, and Sam would always be admit that they were babysitting. And I also like Katie from Mean Girls because she admitted everything she did wrong, and when she gave everyone a piece of her tiara because she didn't think she deserved all of it, it showed that you shouldn't change the way you are to fit in with a certain group.
I like Jamal from Slumdog Millionaire just because he was able to maintain his values throughout the entire movie, even through all the adversity he'd gone through, and then in the end how he was able to just pretty much shut out any other materialistic things that were going on, and then how he was just kind of concentrating on just Latika and yeah.
I like Katie, because at the end, she changed in a negative way, but towards the end of the movie, she learned that, she learned a life lesson to be true to herself and others.
I agreed with Parker. My favorite were Katie from Mean Girls and Sam and Claire from Hanging On to Max because they taught us the most basic life lessons and the most because they're relevant to like what high schoolers are. That's what I like. That's why they were my favorite.
I said my favorite was like the Monkey King and then Precious. I said the Monkey King because he had a really good life license because he told us that like be true to yourself and like if you're yourself you can do so much more, and I feel like that's an important lesson in whatever you try to do, like literally anything you go into, don't try to be a follower. Like if you go to like being racist so you could have something, you just be yourself and like know your values and stuff. And then Precious because she went through so much like with her dad and the situation, and I feel like that's an important life lesson to stay strong and be mentally tough. I feel like that's important.
Yeah, I said my favorite character was probably Will from About a Boy, because I really liked the way he was like, he was already like, he had his life planned out, he was like, had this plan, like the units, he like, everything is like half an hour, he thought he like knows everything, but then like, even though he was successful, he realized like he needs somebody to be like with him, and he can't like be on his own. So I mean, no matter how successful, like, well planned your life is, I mean, you can't do it yourself. It's a pretty good lesson. Thank you.